welcome back again for another of our behavior chats. This is going to be one part of what we're talking about, which is behavior interventions. If you take a look at the research and you take a look at any of the information out there, what you will find is that the most effective interventions will always involve reinforcement and punishment or extinction. In the data, it's very, very clear. Reinforcement by itself, punishment by itself is not nearly, not even close, as effective as the combination of those two. You have to understand how research is derived, right? Like research is about the large group of data, like, oh, we tested this intervention with all of these kids or all of this population. And what we found is this information specific to this large group of data. There are vast individual differences if you pick out any one member of that group. When someone is designing an intervention to help a child, you have to understand you're working with the individual. You're not working with the group, okay? And what that means is that it's never a direct 50-50 split. We have 50% reinforcement and we have 50% punishment. You have to understand reinforcement will affect some individuals more than others, and punishment will affect some individuals more than others. What does that actually mean? Like, oh, it affects some people more than others? Well, some of us do things just for the enjoyment of doing those things, that it matters to us. Like that, oh, when somebody gives us some praise or like, hey, you're doing a great job, that's all some of us need to keep on doing a good job. Okay? Whereas others of us need to be threatened in order for us to operate at our best. Any particular child that we're working with, until you actually get to know that child, you don't know what percentage is actually going to be effective for that child. Maybe it's 80% reinforcement, 20% punishment. Or maybe this is more of a punishment-oriented kid where reinforcement, they don't care about too much, but they care when you take stuff away from them. One of the kids that I used to work with, and hopefully this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about here. We were teaching him how to spell words, okay? And so he was learning how to spell words and he was doing really well. And then at some point he just like, oh, I don't care for it. I don't want to do it anymore. So we had to make sure that there was sufficient amount of motivation for him to complete the task. With words that we knew he knew, we would have a Twinkie, and a Twinkie is like American like baked snack. It's a very sweet snack, okay? And he really liked these Twinkies. So if he spelled the word completely fine, he would get the whole Twinkie. That reinforcement was not enough to motivate him to get things right. So we added a slight punishment procedure to it, which is that every time he got the spelling wrong, we would break the Twinkie in half. So he got it wrong one time, we broke it in half and we threw it away. He got it wrong again, we break it in half again, we throw it away. And we kept on doing that until he got it right. The problem was that he was really happy just to get a little piece of Twinkie. It didn't matter that he didn't get the whole thing, but he was just perfectly happy with the small piece that he got at the very end. We had to change the punishment procedure. So what we did was, instead of the therapist throwing the Twinkie away, the therapist would eat the Twinkie in front of him. So the therapist would break it in half and eat it in front of him. Oh, he hated that. I don't know what it was about the therapist eating it. He was happy and he was fine if you threw the Twinkie away. But if the therapist consumed that Twinkie, changes his behaviors just like that. The first time, broke it in half, started eating it, spelled that word as fast as can be. Sometimes it just takes time to learn the child and to understand that balance between the two, you know, and to find the right formula to be successful. We cannot talk about behavior interventions, then we have to talk about both aspects of it, the reinforcement side and the punishment extinction side. Today's talk is mostly going to be focused on the reinforcement side of it. How do we go about promoting socially appropriate behaviors? One of the most important aspects of teaching skills and teaching behaviors is teaching the child to be able to communicate their wants and their needs. For most of the kids, and this has been true throughout my experience, even when they have language, it's easier for all of our kids to cry, to scream, to hit, to run away, to engage in a wide variety of these problematic behaviors because they want something. That's what we have to do, is give them an appropriate way to be able to access those things that they really want. One of the most basic skills that kids have that, for whatever reason, a lot of the kids I've worked with, they don't possess that particular skill, is to be able to point to the things that they want. One first. What do you want? Awesome. Here's the chip.
Thank you.
All right. So we're teaching them how to point to things that they want. The thing is, there's ways that you can point that are wrong, okay, or that are inaccurate, okay? And that's where a lot of our kids are. They either don't know how to point to the things that they want, or they can't point accurately to those things. Both of these ways pictured are wrong, you know? So here we have a little crooked finger, and a lot of kids will have this very lazy finger, and it'll just hang down like this rather than being a very straight point. Another picture, the kid's finger is bent outward. You know, I can't do it like some of our kids can, but it's not actually in this picture. It's pointing somewhere over in that other direction, not at the candy. And so you might want to look at it, well, I know he's pointing at the candy. Well, you know, because he's so close to it. But what if you get further away? What if you're 5 feet away or 10 feet away? When the child points, can you tell what they're actually wanting? Other kids will point with open hand. So they'll point like this or like, but again, it's very difficult to see clearly when the child really wants something. And the whole point of this is really to teach the child to be very good and accurate with their pointing, so that even strangers, if they don't know them, could tell, oh, this child wants this. You have to teach them how to do it. Okay, so now this is the most important part. And this is the part that most people get wrong, is that they'll start by not helping the child. What do you want? They fail. What do you want? They fail. What do you want? They fail. Okay, and parents don't help them enough, which means that, oh, if they have a hard time, if their hands are out like open, you as a parent or as a teacher has to teach them exactly how you want it in order for them to learn how to point correctly. Here you can physically prompt them. Oh, you grab their hands, you put it exactly the way that you want it and hold it so that they can know, oh, this is the response that will get me that item that I want. Some kids will go up when you help them and drip back down. Go up when you help them, drip back down. So your goal is to get it up and for it to stay up at least for a short period of time, like 1 second, and then you reinforce them for keeping that up. Some kids can learn by modeling, meaning like, oh, I show you what I want you to do, and then you'll be able to copy what I'm showing you. What you're really trying to teach them is like, when you're right in front of the table, be able to, with a straight arm and straight fingers, be very, very accurate at pointing at exactly the item that they want. When they can do it close, then you have to move them systematically further and further away from the table, and for that point to remain accurate in terms of being very, very targeted and very accurate to the item that they want. You can see in the picture on the left, he's pointing right at the item that he wants. Here on the right side, he's pointing more toward the middle between the two objects. Once they're good with ranging from side to side and being accurate with that, then we teach them to go up and down as well. I can raise it high, I can raise it at my level, and I can point down to the ground, and that they can be accurate with where they're pointing so that, oh, I can see easily, oh, that's what you want. That is pointing. And that's one communication skill. The other one that we like to teach is to be able to indicate yes or no to when people ask them if they want something. You want hot sauce? Nice job. You want cracker? Fantastic. Okay, so for kids that don't have very much language or don't have language at all, we like to teach them to nod or to shake their head when somebody asks them if they want something. You can help teach them because a lot of times they may not know how to nod or shake their head. They may not know how to do it. So if they can't do it, then you have to physically assist them in doing it. You want Doritos? Yay! All right, and you actually give him the food after you prompted him so that they pair, oh, doing this with receiving the item. If they know how to model, then you use modeling to teach them. Do this. Do this. Awesome. Right. Now, once they're able to do it, and you're actually teaching them yes or no, then you can use another strategy called priming. And priming means we're going to give you a lot of practice and lead up to when I ask the question. Do this. Do this. Do this. Fantastic. You want chocolate? Nice. Do this. Awesome. Do this. Ooh. Do this. You want cashew? Fantastic job. Okay. So that's an example of priming. You're practicing it leading up to the actual presentation. They can learn to indicate yes, no by nodding or shaking their heads. And just one quick thing from before, if they say no to an item that they actually want, we make sure they don't get that item, right? And if they say yes to an item that we think they should say no to, we make them eat that item. So hold on. Do you want hot sauce? No. Nice. Do you want Oreo? Yes. Good girl. All right. The whole idea here is that we are teaching them ways to effectively communicate. So the most basic are pointing and indicating yes or no when somebody asks them if they want an item or not. For kids that have language, then we're going to require them to ask for the things that they want. We have gummies, cracker, Oreo. What do you want? Nice, good job, baby. We have crackers, Oreos, fruit snacks. What do you want?
Can I have Oreos, please?
Nice asking. Here you go. Okay. So the requirement really depends on each child's verbal ability. So if they can say the item, then you make them say the item. If they can say whole sentences, you make them say the whole sentence. For kids that don't have that vocal language and they still need other ways other than pointing and indicating yes, no to get their needs met, we might introduce a picture exchange system whereby they take the picture, they give it to us to indicate what it is they want exactly. Mangoes.
Mangoes.
Fantastic. Okay. And then after he repeats it, then we would give him some mango.